So, welcome to Your Music is Bad and You Should Feel Bad. I'm here with Jamie Igneo, and today we're gonna talk about the state of djent, I guess. Well, we're figuring it out as we go. But we were trying to figure out what to talk. We got together today to djent, and we're also doing a podcast. But mainly, we got together to djent. And before we djent, we're gonna do this podcast, so we might as well make it about djent. Here's what just happened. So we were like trying to come up with a topic, and Jamie's like, "How djent is dying," and I'm like, "Well, I think it's changing," and I sort of get. So let's address that. So I think what's happening is we're starting to see the second like wave of djent, which is bands that aren't straight up djent bands, but they're still used. Like I've seen a bunch of prog bands have gone kind of djent-adjacent, and then there's some other new bands that are djent-adjacent. Basically, that's the new wave. Is djent-adjacent is the new thing. It's like
is that Gentrify's first track, djent-adjacent?
Although it could be, it's going to be a track. I don't know if the first one's going to be that or gentrification, because I'm still figuring out the lyrics on that one. Or here, I'll talk about this on the. I was just about to tell you about this. I'm like reinvigorated, is that the word? My desire to make that Alex Jones track where all the vocals are samples of Alex Jones, and part of that is so like he made a bunch of statements about Charlottesville were so bad.
I have not, and I don't think I can.
Basically, he said that they were not only is that same like, you know, they're like paid actors, not real Nazis, but he also implied they were paid Jewish actors, like there were a bunch of Jews pretending to be Nazis. So here's what's funny though, my original, when we were coming up with gentrified song titles that all have to have a J in it, right?
Yeah. And
I was trying to come up with one for Alex Jones, and my first thought was Alex Jones' Jewish Agenda. But I thought it might be misconstrued as like actual like his kind of shit.
Right.
But now I'm like, now that he did that, and that was like a real like doubling down on anti-Semitism, I feel like I should use that, and then I can just, and it'll be more clear that that's kind of. But I might still do. I'm still not sure exactly, because like, well, I want to use probably some of that, but
I've already got a line for like the best breakdown. So do you recall the one, I think that Stephen Colbert had like hit on this because it was one of the funniest parts, where he says, and this is like, you just hear the crash of like the China, and then he says, "I dress as a Satanist to take the power away. I wear this Rolex and a suit to dress like a Satanist to take back the image."
Oh, that is a good one. You're
and
right.
Then the breakdown.
Yes. Well, here's what I got to do, because I realized I wanted to just make it a song, but that's stupid. It has to be a video. So
yeah,
that means I also have to learn to do the whole, like I could edit this audio samples in like nobody's business, but it's a whole extra step to do the same thing with video, which I know how to do it. I've just never done it before with that kind of detail. So
do you have to give a lot of credits and stuff for taking segments of things?
No, that you just,
because it's for parody. Well,
yeah, and you just kind of also hope nobody. I mean, I don't know. That depends. That depends if you make money on it and stuff like that.
Come on, wouldn't you frame a cease and desist letter from Alex Jones?
Oh yeah. Well, and even then, I don't think he can. I like it. Basically, would come down to like you might have to pay a. Oh my god, I'm totally blanking. The compulsory sample license for sampling him, basically. But it's also kind of nebulous because, you know, it's like he's on YouTube and stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of, I don't know. The point is, I'm not gonna worry about it because I'm pretty sure that like, it's one of those. If that is a problem, it means that it has done well, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So if I have any issues, that means like, fuck it. We'll worry about that when it happens.
Yeah, right.
And be like,
well, couldn't we get somebody? I mean, having the samples is the best thing. Who do we know that looks like Alex Jones, or we could quasi dress up as Alex Jones? Or who could we pay $50 to do that? Yeah,
well, I was gonna do it. You know, we're gonna do this Music Wars thing, and I wanted to kind of do like potentially a full kind of impression type deal, but
the subliminal messages in Harry Styles music. He is trying to push the agenda.
Yeah. So, I Anyway, so but I'm just gonna make a song first, and then edit the video, which will also include his vocals over it, and that should be pretty easy to put together. And
Man, I think he could have been, had a career and not been a nutter, like kind of like Henry Rollins. Not character-wise, not comparing Alex Jones to Henry Rollins. Precursor, putting that out there. Just if he was like a post-hardcore, kind of vocalist, I think he would have done really well.
Oh yeah, because he's got that grit in his voice.
Yeah,
and which has gotten more over the years.
Oh yeah. What was it he said? I am a red-blooded American. I bleed. I am angry. I make babies.
Well, so maybe you can help me with this, because that's the biggest challenge is I have to like figure out. I got some of the audio. I started collecting audio clips, but now I realize I really have to just go and rip the videos and actually use them.
Right.
Because there's so many people already doing similar things. Somebody did like, if Alex Jones did like a Bon Iver type song, and like it's a song, and then they auto-tuned him to be singing, but it's quotes, but auto-tuned. Now, I'm not going to auto-tune shit, because it's just going to be like, and him just yelling, because it's there already, right? You don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta figure out what to use and then collect a lot of it. I just gotta sit down and like watch a bunch of YouTube and be ready to like rip the videos and shit.
I think you have to give yourself a break at the end of the day after watching that.
Oh yeah, well no, it's gonna be like a whole just a few hours of just. Well, that's why I haven't done it yet. I did a little bit,
but
I can only handle so much. Is the problem?
Yeah, that's like the lost file of 1985.
Well, and I kind of want to find some unique, because the thing is, I know there's got to be some unique gems that haven't made the rounds. Or there's certain clips, some of the best ones, honestly, have been like my favorite. They're I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay.
Yeah, right.
That's one of my favorites.
That's a classic.
Well,
one.
that and I want to go to space.
Did you see him on the Joe Rogan?
Oh yeah.
Podcast.
Oh yeah. And he got
this is just tobacco, right? I didn't inhale. Like I don't think you need it, man. You're already there.
Yeah. Well, it's. I thought that was very.
Long as you got the breakdown, where he's like, I wear a Rolex and I dress as a Satanist.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Trying to think of other ones. God, he's a nutter. He's an absolute nutter.
But that'll definitely be a gentrified song, and so that's why I'm trying
do
to
a really
out
good Gilbert Gottfried. That'd be a good gentrified song.
Well, like literally. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go back with recent events. I'm probably gonna go back to calling that one Alex Jones' Jewish Agenda. And there's the gentrification, and then all the other like possible ones have like the key is it has to have a J sound in it that we can turn into a DJ and the actual like song title.
Right. When we did the Veterans Day parade, Jeff, let's just call him Jeff Buckley. That's not his name. But he was like, oh, you need a band name for the group that you're putting up on the parade. And I was like, it's a mishmash of musicians that like we don't always use, so we got to come up with a name. And then Marcel said, what about the Jefftones? But we specifically called it the Jefftones, not the Jefftones. And he's like, why? And we're like, there's a genre called djent. He's like, but why the Jefftones? I'm like, we really shouldn't explain it to you because it just won't be funny. So we were, I don't know, whatever like military forums we were up on as the Jefftones. I thought that was the best name ever. Can't have that one for this one.
That is awesome. Well, so here's how I feel about djent currently, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's over or it's done, and I think it's just begun because the first wave of like, there's a lot of really interchangeable bands in the first wave of djent. I actually the other day, when YouTube was suggesting one of these like themed playlists, it offered me a djent playlist. It was like 50 music videos. Djent themed, and so I just let it run for a while, and I saw some things I hadn't seen before, but none worth like listening to again.
Right.
And then a few that I had heard of, but I didn't really know their stuff. And then I was like, oh, I haven't actually heard them. Oh, now I don't need to again. Like, because it's like, oh, that like there's one band called Intervals that was like I've heard of, but I didn't know if they stood out. They don't stand out at all. Is my point. Is that most of these that either don't stand out or there's also so here's another. That reminds me. So here's one of the offshoots of djent. Is sort of the sort of djent-adjacent. It's sort of shred, except that half the time it's not shred. Like it's basically a cross between like Satriani and djent. Like Polyphia is a good example. They used to actually have more djent in their music, and then they just stuck with like the Satriani like instrumental guitar songs, and also they used to have all kinds of shred, and then they were just like, you know what? Let's keep it simple or something. Like I don't know. They just got really simple, except for the solos. Yeah. But the main like melodies are super simple. And kind of sing-songy, but with like they always just miss on the phrasing. Like they always just miss making an effective melody, in my opinion, by like a few notes. Either not enough notes to turn it into a melody, or there's too many notes. They didn't put any rests in, so there's no phrasing, and so it doesn't turn into like a melody. Anyway, so there's a bunch of bands like that, and then they do solos, and it's all just like shred, and like they basically all. They all sound like they have been listening to John Petrucci, but again,
well, Petrucci is God, right? Is that it?
But like with like bad phrasing and like no structure, just like just like whittly kind of.
Who would you say, and not based on personal opinion, but educated guess facts? Oxymoron there. Are the top 5 djent bands, and I mean from as early back as the birth of the genre.
Well, yeah,
Meshuggah wise,
right. I would always include Meshuggah.
Right.
Well, I mean, in terms of like popularizing it, or in terms of being actually best, like.
Popularizing.
Right, because I like so little. I mean, it's okay. Like there's a lot of it's okay. Like there's a few Animals and Leaders tracks that I think are all right, but like I don't spend a lot of time listening. Like I've listened to them a bit and be like, oh, that's cool, and then I kind of just like don't go back and listen.
Yeah, I never got their first album. I liked the Joy of Motion.
Yeah, that one has some cool stuff on it, but it's like it's kind of all the same thing. It's well, not exactly the same thing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and. So okay, so I would say so it's like Meshuggah, Periphery, Animals as Leaders, Tesseract.
Yes.
Those are the big ones. There's a few others. Those are the big ones that have stuck around and pretty much. What's it called? Monuments is still around, but they're like a tier down in terms of quality.
Yeah.
They suck. That's why.
I've tried listening to their live stuff and I couldn't get it, and I don't know if because honestly I've listened to a lot of the different live performances. I always go for live performances on YouTube as well as educate myself and just for recreation listening to tracks. But Monuments, I remember the first track I heard, I was like, wow, really enjoying this. And then the mix of the drums just dwarfed my headset for the entire album. And the guitar was so thin.
Yeah.
And then I watched a live video of them. People were, we've all played in front of crowds before, and some crowds just suck. But a lot of them were just not digging on it, and you could hardly hear the guitar sound. And that bass player is awesome.
Yeah,
he really is awesome. But the guitar player, I'm not shitting on his, skill level or whatever he's writing. It wasn't. You could hardly hear it, and so I tried to listen to more and more live shows to see. I bet it's just a bad venue or a bad mix going to the board that they put on this video. And it was just the consistency. It was like you couldn't. I don't know. It just wasn't a good sound.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They're one of those bands that definitely their tone is too djenty, right?
Yeah.
So like it djents, but that's all it does.
Yeah.
And then everything else is kind of harsh or thin sounding. And yeah, that's an issue. But
well, those are the top 4 then, and then you gave Monuments a tier down. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
What about
The Contortionist is pretty good.
Heard about them, not got into them. Yeah, haven't tried.
And yeah, so that's like the first wave kind of. There's a few others, but so now, as far as And I feel like there were a bunch more that totally fell off and kind of disappeared because they were crap to begin with and whatever. But like Monuments is an example of like the first time I heard him, I thought there was something interesting going on. And then it's been less interesting every time I've heard them. Mm-hmm. And now when I hear them, I'm like, what was the interesting part? Because they're so just like straight ahead, really just like and like poor writing. Like the bad writing is a recurring thing. Like when we went to see Tesseract recently, the whole joke we have about Tesseract is that all their songs start like they don't have intros or outros to anything. Every song starts and ends abruptly, and you're like, oh, it's over, and then the next song starts, and you're like, is this a different song or is it the same? I'm not sure. And like when the show started, it was just like. Or something, and you were just like, we're starting. Okay, we're just right into it.
You gave me that. It was the first time I played your Strandberg, and I think I forget which Tesseract song I played.
My Strandberg is for sale if anybody is looking for a really nice 8-string, by the way. Because
to gentle.
Yes.
Whatever the bloody rhythm is.
That's the one good song.
Right. And I feel like specifically Tesseract, not Meshuggah at all, not so much Periphery. Mm-hmm. Tesseract is the purveyor of your phrase. I feel like Djent is 2/3 too long. Like,
oh yeah. Well, yeah, because they'll just repeat parts forever, and you're like, I guess that's to some of their audience. I'm sure, especially nowadays, there's a lot of styles of music where it's just like, give me the thing I like, and then repeat it, so I can like dance or whatever. Dance music, it makes sense that stuff repeats forever because it's just dance to this,
or hold it back for a little bit, but then bring it back,
right?
Just so you can.
So I kind of see how like some djent is like it's really all about the groove and about the djenting, and so some bands are like that's all we need. And their fans are like, yeah, I don't care if there's any song. It's just like, just fucking djent. Like, fucking djent. Shut up and djent.
Yeah. It was cool to see, like, Periphery go through the transformation of, I remember when it was you that talked to me about them. You're like, I don't know, check this band out. And this was back when 2 was out, and then they were doing those little weird tracks where it's like each of us will individually write our own one,
and it was like, and they all suck.
And I mean, it's the same thing that happened to everyone. Like Icarus Lives is the first thing you hear, and you're like, this is what djent is. Or you hear Meshuggah's, what is it? That one song,
Bleed, probably.
Right? And everyone's like, there you go, this is the birth of djent. And then you hear Icarus Lives, and then you're done. You're like, okay, now I know what djent is. I really like this. But they had that first album where, I suppose Spencer Sotelo hadn't found his place, and he came in, they'd already written the songs, they were like, just write lyrics to it. And that sucks. And you're just like, shut up, just djent.
Yeah.
But then they got the second album, which was great. Then they did that idiotic thing. And then they progressed into the Periphery 3, where they finally had learned how to, like, here are 3 songs that are just beyond brutal. Here's one that is pop sensible with great awesome melodies.
By the way, did you hear that Nolly left?
I'm not surprised.
Well,
so did Steve Bannon. What? No.
Well, yeah. Well, here's what's funny about it is like
they used Nolly, didn't they?
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing.
God.
I think he basically joined the band. I don't know if this is on purpose,
right?
But it seems like they added him to the band just to produce them. And at the same time, he picked up... Because I just learned this like a week or 2 ago, that he didn't play bass before he joined the band. He's picked up the bass just to be... Because they needed a bass player.
Yeah.
And that's funny, but not surprising, because it explains why they don't have any good bass lines. Because they don't have a real bass player.
The third album, they outlined it. Like, the mix was a lot better. You could hear... Yeah, but
there's still a lot of, like... Let's just, again, let's match the low note, and sometimes you got to do that, but
it changed. Like when you hear Prayer Position, or like I forget what the other one is, where it literally starts off with a bass, and it is the most djenty, like.
Well, I was.
And you're, oh my god, that's a bass.
Well, the reason I learned that at all is because I was trying to read up about his basses, And I was trying to figure out if if at any point I cared about getting like a really crazy scale bass for like super djenty, like, because like if you turn, the trick is you don't tune down to match the low string on an 8-string unless you're crazy. I mean, occasionally they do, but it's crazy.
You'll just go up in the octave and match pitch.
Yeah, you go up the octave, or sometimes you like if they're using a 5-string, like, you have the low B, because you're not always playing on the low F sharp.
Wonderful blend, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, instead of
it's
tuning
interesting.
down.
It's really, because I've been thinking about it, because I got a 5-string bass, but it's a standard scale, so I knew it wasn't going to necessarily be able to go too low, but I wasn't going to approach it that way, because I was looking at all the tunings too, because I was trying to figure out for like 7-string tunings. And and just stuff that other djent bands had used, especially for Gentrified, because it's partially like a pseudo let me intentionally see what djent bands do, and copy it, but then mess with it kind of thing.
Right.
So I was looking at like Periphery's tunings, which is really interesting because like it took me a long time for this to sink in, but they don't use 8 strings that much. It's just that Misha bought a bunch of them, and so there were a lot of, like, for a long time, there's a lot of photos of Misha with different 8 strings, but then you actually look at the tunings on the albums, and you're like, there's 2 songs with an 8 string.
Well, I mean, a lot of the times, Misha would be the one with the extended ranges, and Mark Holcomb, Jake Bowen would not go beyond 7, and Mark would still be on a down tune 6.
Yeah,
PRS.
Yeah.
But then eventually, I don't know if he got a.
They
Obviously
at least all have 7s now.
Well, I've seen Mark with an 8-string PRS now.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah, for a while, but fuck PRS. What? No, that's my opinion. People love PRS.
Oh man,
if there's a comment section on this, just watch people go off on me. Please send your hate mail.
Well, this one's gonna be. I mean, it depends where you're listening or viewing it. But mostly you should comment at us on Facebook or YouTube, probably. That's the way to go. Let us know how wrong we are.
Pickups.
And all, yeah.
There's no camera.
I may have finished exploring bare knuckle pickups. Like, I've tried enough of them, and I kind of know. Well, the problem is they're good pickups, but like they're more extreme pickups tend to get too extreme, and I don't necessarily like. I've tried some that weren't as good as I thought, and or they can only make one sound is the issue, and I think that's any extreme pickup you get that issue.
Sounds like an EMG problem.
Kind of. Well, that's even because even with passive pickups, if you get that like I can't stand the aftermaths. And I don't basically. I've started to identify djent pickups, like any pickup that immediately makes you sound like djent, with the exception of the Lundgren, the M678s. But all the other djent pickups, they will immediately make you sound like djent, but then like that's all you can sound like, and you can't really get a lot of more range than that. Like you start playing radio stuff, you're like, why does it sound so thin? Like. I don't know. Anyway. Well,
so to go back to something there, you had found out that Nolly had left, and that was because I'd seen like a bunch of YouTube videos and he wasn't there.
I haven't looked much into it, but
my whole thing was that you would see a bunch of the shows where he's not even playing anyway, so they're playing to a track.
I was watching a video just the other day on YouTube where they played a show without him or Spencer.
Because Spencer got sick.
Oh, right, I posted it even, because I was like, because they were like, there's good news and bad news. I posted it, and I was like, there's good news and good news.
So we're going to keep playing.
Right, the good news is we're going to play. The good news is also that our singer's not here.
And Jake was like getting furious. He was like, you guys got to help us sing. No, start again. This isn't a band, like, you can't Axl Rose it and be like, stop. When you have to turn to Matt Halpern and be like, hey, quit the track, and he's like, mother...
like, right, restart the click track. Like,
so do you know how many times I have to do this? You have to hear like the whole thing they started doing in hardcore and metalcore like 10 years ago, where you hear the "whenever I speak, the bodies hit the floor," like the whole like track thing from a movie or whatever quote. Anyhow, Nolly. I think Nolly had worked with. Did he work with Sixth? I feel like they would get
That's
more
possible.
if like some bands are just not meant to be in the country that they're in, you know. And Sixth, I found out who they were, and I heard Bland Street Boom and Scent of the Obscene, like two of their hit tracks from two separate albums, 10 years ago. I was in high school and a dude made me these two like mix CDs. I'm like, oh cool, I love these. Always getting to new people, and he was trying to appeal to me by putting a bunch of British bands on there. Red Witch or something. I like
Red
Red
Fang?
Gatas. Not Red Fang.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no.
I don't know.
But anyhow, I'd heard Sixth and I was like, wow, this is cool. And he's like, yeah, it's that math rock, dude. I'm like, sure. And then Gent became prominent,
Yeah.
and then Sixth were like, hey,
I'm so glad
we're
math
back.
rock is not a term anymore
Yeah.
because, first of all, most of it was metal, right?
Yeah,
And there was already terms like tech death and shit like that. I don't know.
yeah.
And so like
It's like genty deathcore.
like the only band that kind of sort of fits that really made sense was like maybe Dillinger Escape Plan, because they're a little more like hardcore rocky than
yes.
metal, but
And
they're
they would
still
take pop aspects, but I mean, the majority of them were jazz musicians, right?
yeah.
And
It's,
I love
it's,
that.
Oh no, it's very great. It's great. It's just that like to call it like math, like I've heard people call Meshuggah math rock, and it's like rock. Do you hear this and do you think that's some rock and roll? Like no, it's fucking metal.
These guys
Like-
did really good in maths in school.
It's like yeah, I don't know. I've always been like yeah, that's always been a like what the fuck is math rock?
Yeah.
And you find out you're like I don't think those things are what you think they are.
Did you ever? Shit, no, brain fart. It's gone. No. All right, I can go to my second point. Oh, no. So I tried to give Meshuggah the fifth chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it was while lying in bed next to Ashley at like 11 a.m.
I don't know if that's the best. All right, let me know. Tell me how this goes. I don't.
I just put headphones on.
Yeah.
And
Oh, with headphones. I thought you were just
yeah,
like.
it's Ashley. She doesn't want to hear it.
I was gonna say you're lying in bed at
For
11 a.m.
everyone
You're
to
like,
know that
let me put on Meshuggah.
my fiance's awesome. We play video games, like, you know, love some of the same bands. She does not like anything metal. Unless it's, you know, there isn't a lot of screaming or growling in it. Anyhow, so I went back through Spotify's catalog, was shocked to find Meshuggah from the late 80s.
They've been around a long time.
And they were starting that, let's just start fucking around with math rock. They were really, really, you could see where they were separating from thrash metal in the Metallica. Who was that other Testament? They were like slowly fading away from them and Slayer.
Exactly. They started off very thrashy, and then like
it's like standard E-tune guitars and stuff like that.
So like a really good track to check out from their earlier stuff that they still play is Future Breed Machine, which is the one that if you hear it you'll recognize. It starts off with this little weird like kind of sound.
Yeah.
And then it follows with like you know, like all the like crazy syncopation comes in over that, you know. So, but it's not super low. And so what happened is they started a lot of their earlier stuff was more like that, a lot more like super fast, like so like you know and. Later on, when sort of gent really became a thing, is like after they learned they could kind of slow down and chill out and do more of the kind of like, not quite doomy, but like doom with like polyrhythms kind of thing.
But you saw
the more heavy like, you know.
Right. Well, they came to like 2000 is when it really changed, and I think that's like after the whole. I'm just shooting the shit here, but like after 2000, I think that after hearing, not so much the departure of Metallica. But I'm assuming that Metallica wrote Saint Anger and they got really angry.
Well, you know, what's funny is I think
they took stuff from like new metal and stuff, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, you're kind of here's the thing. So like you're kind of right on the money because the big turning point album I think for them was Nothing, and that came out.
That's 2004 or 2006, right?
2002.
Oh,
so
okay.
you were right there.
Yeah.
And that's I think the first one.
They definitely took like low tune guitar, like.
Well, that was the thing.
Know,
that was actually wait. Let me see if I don't want to get this wrong. I think. Because Rich knows this shit really well, so if I get some details wrong, we'll
be in trouble.
Or like again, I'm talking about like he's said all these things on other episodes.
He'll be like that Scottish guy with his 18th note.
But like Nothing is the one that he always cites as like their seminal, like they really nailed it.
Uh-huh.
And I think either that one or let's see, because it's right around then. It might be the one right after that is where they were using tuned down 7s, and then they were like, we need something better for this, and so then they got the 8s made.
Yeah.
So they basically got. I mean, there were other 8, 9, 10 crazy weird guitars made, but it was like the first 8-string ever made.
Yeah.
But the modern idea of the 8-string, they had made for Meshuggah. Like, they had it made. And so that was what started. And then people played that 8-string, just like when the first 7-string, as we think of them now, was Steve Vai.
The Universe.
Right.
Small digression. Did I tell you, there's a student I taught, kid just didn't give a crap. He was playing his dad's 6-string Vai guitar,
Ooh.
and he had the 7-string Universe.
Oh, nice.
And it's when you look and you're like, you worked hard. You deserve that guitar that you've got that you don't play, that sits there in a case, that is amazing, that I want. His dad brought it out for
Is
me
it like
one time.
like a 90s one, like one of the original ones?
Yeah. And it's like the green.
If he ever wants to
and
sell
pink.
it, you should talk to Rich, because Rich...
Oh, he would want it?
Well, no, Rich... Well, he has this... He specifically collects early Universes because there's a bridge that they put on them, like a 7-string, one of the early Edge trems, and it's like, that's the one he wants. But they just made it for like a year or two. So he actually he buys those guitars and then takes the bridge off and puts them on guitars.
Oh my god!
And then resells the guitar because nobody gives a shit. But he's like, this is the bridge that I want. This is the one that's.
I don't know if that guy would ever sell it, and if he did, he'd probably want an unscrupulous amount.
Yeah.
Of money.
Well, no, it sounds like he's the kind of guy who actually is like, jerks off to it once in a while. It's like,
well,
haven't I been in a Universe?
It's so sad because I know I've seen his whole family, and it's kind of hard to hear that.
Oh, so, well, I mean, I'm sure he does it in a very respectful way when everyone's asleep.
Well, you know what really sucked, and this is a nerd teaching point before we get back to Meshuggah.
Right.
This episode brought to you by Meshuggah. It's calorie free. He got his son to play the 6-string Vai one, and obviously, it's a Floyd. And it wasn't set up right, and I don't set up Floyd guitars. So I'd said to him, like, on the first lesson, I was like, I can't tighten up the bridge anymore to put this guitar in tune, so I have to put it to a relative tuning and down tune my acoustic to match. You got to get this set up, and the amplifier we used was the MS2 Mini Marshall with a peg nose, and I'm like, we're in the Upper West Side in these gorgeous apartments where the rent is like 5 times what mine is, and you just really can't be arsed taking this in to get it set up.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyhow, Meshuggah, giving it the 5th listen, and I think it was around there. Like, even in the late 2000s, they were already pulling out Meshuggah's greatest hits, I think, on Spotify, because I was doing the Spotify run. The 2 things I told you I did not like about Meshuggah, I think it was awesome. I will never forget this comment from you. We'd gotten so far into a bottle of something, and you were like, that's what heavy is, Jamie. It's the anticipation of the beat, the one, and syncopation, and I'm just sitting back there like, okay, sorry, fuck. I go back in an episode, it's back there.
I'm sure it is. I don't remember what it is, but I remember the overall feeling of like that conversation. But yeah, I remember that.
Anyhow, I think the 2 things I said were the guitar tone sounds like a piano string, like you're beating the shit out of a taut piano string.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
That's funny because that's how Nolly describes his bass tone.
Yeah.
With the crazy long scale basses.
I like that.
Well, here's the thing. The thing with Meshuggah you also got to remember is that up until recently, like some of the older stuff, the tone I don't think is that great. They had to develop it because again, they had to invent the guitars, get them made to the proper scale and everything, and then get the I think they had the pickups by nothing, but they were using Line 6 shit for the longest time and EQing the fuck out of it.
So that was when people got really excited about the latest Mesa rectifiers, right? The triple
Well,
ones?
no, they were using Line 6 stuff, and then they were one of the first big Axe Effects guys.
Okay.
So that was the thing. They switched to Axe Effects. So they were super digital for the longest time. Their newest album, the interesting thing about the newest album, which I definitely recommend checking
Colossus?
out. Yes.
Okay.
The Violent Sleep of Reason is the newest one. And the newest one was recorded through real amps. They just recorded. He ran into like 5 or 6 different amps. They just recorded all of them and then mixed like different amounts in each track.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and they recorded it all like sort of live in the studio. So drums, bass, guitar, kind of together, and so it has.
That's hard when you play this kind of music.
It sounds like here's the. It sounds like it sounds more like they sound live, which is really the crazy thing with Meshuggah is like next time they actually come through to like New York City, I want to like make you go to the show because that is the trick with Meshuggah is like they're all right they're good on the albums, but like when you hear it live, it's a crazy experience because Rich has a good explanation for this, which kind of also relates to the stuff that he did like in music school as far as how it makes you like the how that kind of sound makes you feel and how it actually affects you. And that's part of it, but it's that live they're doing this thing that is so complex, but it's live, so it still has that human feel to it, but it's really tight still. But the albums, up until this newest one, they do it differently each time, but they were doing a lot of like studio stuff to make it all happen. And like Colossus is like,
shoot me, he's going to be listening to this like fuck Jamie for calling it Colossus.
No, it makes sense because it's not a real word. And there's a track called "I Am Colossus" on it. It's very confusing.
That's right. That's like the first track.
Yeah, and it's that like turn. Yeah. Yeah. But that album is kind of the opposite. It's very clean and tight. Yeah. Right. So the point is they did a lot less of like the super clean editing and stuff on the new one, so it sounds and feels more live, which is a better. It's closer to the experience of hearing them live.
This is really cool. I love this explanation because it does make me, and I'll finish in a second, like explaining what I'd learned and what I came by listening to it. But that makes so much sense to me. I mean, it's as simple as one of my opera teachers at one point had said, look, I'd said, is that tone really okay? And I don't know if it was a difference in teaching method, but it was still a fantastic teacher, just like my first maestro was. And she said, yes, no, it's great. And I'm like, I didn't feel weird. And she said, look, when you're teaching guitar and other instruments, when you teach someone the proper technique, give me an example. I said, alternate picking. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I said, when you're doing down picking in a chromatic exercise in the beginning and I start to teach someone alternate picking, they can't play the exercise as fast as they could with down picking. And she said to me, okay, right, good. That's because they haven't developed the muscle memory. I'm like, yes. So she's like, it's more efficient and it is better, or it will be better than how fast they can play it with the down picking. When you record your voicemail and you listen back, what do you say? And I'm like, oh, is that what I sound like? She's like, right. I can hear you and you sound good and your tone is like this. Take your phone out and record yourself. You hear that mistake that you're talking about? It's because you've not developed the muscle memory for the position you're singing in for that to be good. And we went further in different lessons in talking about recording and how, she said, do you remember old albums where you would hear the drum and the bass in the left ear and the guitar on the right, and then you'd hear a mix of the vocals going, and for trippy 60s music, you'd hear Jimi Hendrix's voice going left and right, and that's their equivalent of a phaser, right?
Can you just picture them in the studio with like the pan knob, like, oh, it's so trippy, man. Oh, it's blowing my mind.
Dude, come on. With enough acid, I'm sure it was blowing her mind.
Now, the point is that now you can program it to like bounce back and forth and all kinds of shit.
Dude, I'm not even going to start shitting on myself and how I don't know enough about DAWs. But so long story short, I really like your explanation of that, and I will, even when I tell you what I got to in my conclusion of Meshuggah, I would love to come see them because I can't think of an example. This would be the first time I go out and I see a group and it's changed my mind about their thing. what I think of them. Sorry.
I still don't spend a ton of time listening to Meshuggah. You know what I mean? Like I listen to
a ton
them.
of bands that you like, I'm sure.
Right.
Just like me that you love. You don't listen all
my
the
listening
time.
habits are weird now in general.
Yeah.
And also it's because I don't need to listen to something as many times to kind of absorb more of it these days.
Yeah. We both endorse listening to the My Dick album. Go on Google
Yes.
and please look up the My Dick album.
You will absorb it so fast. You will really absorb my dick.
Yeah.
So, but like Meshuggah, yeah, it's one of those things where like if you have any, like, I'm trying like, so you go to a metal show.
Yeah.
If you like metal is a good example of, I've always felt metal is a very binary thing. If you don't like, either you kind of have the taste for it or you don't, or you're able to get into it or you're not. And it's like, and so because of that, when you have music that has metal in it, people label it as metal, right? You can have like
people that don't normally listen
right.
to it, you mean?
You can, or like, yeah, or anybody. You can have like, you know, a song that's like 3/4 like soft ambient stuff, but if there's a quarter of it is fucking, you know, you're a metal band, right? You can't be like a folk band that plays a little bit of metal.
Nope.
You're like folk metal.
Well, the
right?
closest thing is like Bad Brains, right? Or no, Fishbone, sorry.
Yeah.
And I've never listened to Fishbone, but that's all I hear is, they did lots of different genres.
Right. So similar to that is like people who like metal, usually part of it is there's a certain, they have an emotional response to the, you know, the timbres and the sort of, you know, the heaviness, the aggression and stuff like that. And so when you go to a metal show, that's what a lot of people go to metal shows for, right? That's why there's moshing, right? That's a way of expressing that feeling, right? Is people are like, yeah, metal, you know? And like Meshuggah is like the best version of like I prefer bands with, you know, some clean vocals. I like vocal melodies. I like singing. But Meshuggah,
I was shocked when I met you and we'd known each other for a while, and then you told me this. I remember this.
But Meshuggah is like, it doesn't matter. It's just such a cool experience seeing them, because it's such a like. This last time we saw him, you know, I went with Eric and Rich to, it was near DC. It was in Maryland. To see Meshuggah and Megadeth.
Right.
And it was partially because I hadn't seen Megadeth in a while and I thought I was due, but also it was like, it really can't hurt to see Meshuggah. It's just been, I didn't start seeing them regularly until I was in New York, at least, because I didn't really, I've heard of them over the years because I always kept up on metal stuff. But I never spent a lot of time listening to them until I was kind of in New York, and I started actually probably not until I saw them live, and then I was like, oh fuck, oh shit, I gotta listen to this shit, you know, because that's what it's about. It's about it's a very intense experience, and also if you like music with complexity to it, there's so much in there, but it's like, again, it's always got this groove to it, right? So I don't know, it's just. I'll make a point next time they come through to hit you up, because it'll be a good time.
The one of the things here's a metal thing. A lot of people just have prerequisites, you know, to what metal is. For people who specifically don't and do listen to metal, you can hear the air quotes in my voice. When you have someone that doesn't listen to metal and you play, let's say you took a Lamb of God song, a Meshuggah song, a Mastodon song, and then a 3 Days Grace song, a heavy Nickelback song, and a Slipknot song, and a Korn song, and a Disturbed song, people would go down the aisle, and a Limp Bizkit song. Fred Durst, ladies and gentlemen, and you go down the aisle, people would just say that's metal, right?
Yeah.
But if you take, for example, there was a documentary done on Korn playing for military troops and their families, and when you hear I fucking hate you, and you're out live at an outdoor concert, that's gonna hit you, you know, in an awesome way, and you can't not people will. It's always a younger generation. I find you become less jaded as you get older. To be honest, you think you would become more, but you don't. Where you're not like, oh, it's Korn, fuck you, fuck Jonathan Davis, or fuck Monkey and Head. But no, if you're outside, like, or they might use the argument, well, they're troops, they're grateful for everything. Like, that's also just trolling in kids. But if you're outdoors in, I don't know, the Midwest or on a base, and Korn come out and they're like, thank you, you're awesome, whatever, and play a ripping show where they're bleeding and sweating on stage,
Yeah, well, I had this literal experience because
Really?
I saw Korn at Heavy Montreal.
Oh, okay.
And they were headlining, and they were playing all of their first album.
Yes.
And I've never liked Korn, but I was like, after that, I was like, well, I mean, I had heard people say like their first album's pretty good, and actually like it might be preferable to someone like myself to their later stuff, because the later stuff like
Skrillex.
The later stuff it's the really popular stuff is the more well-known stuff is a little bit later, and then so it's more likely to be annoyed by that stuff.
Of course, and I could see why. I mean, to be honest, in the last 2 days, I somehow got back to bands, but mainly because I tuned my Explorer down standard C, guitar nerd shit, and then I was thinking it's too floppy, the gauges weren't heavy enough, and I just forgot because I hadn't. Extended range. Now 7-string, I don't think about, I'm going to down-tune my guitar. And I just wanted something in standard C, but I was like, shit, I'll get heavier gauges and put another guitar in that, and then put that up to drop C, because it should be in standard D with this gauge. And I was like, just listening to all this old metalcore music that I listened to, and when metalcore was a thing from 2000 to 2010, it still is, but when it was prominent, they had all these subgenres. And it was like, Bless the Fall. It was like the scene kids listening to. And the Devil Wears Prada were probably the best thing to come out of that. Then they had like, the ones that came from like Boston hardcore, like Killswitch Engage. And then Midwestern groups like August Burns Red and Texas in July. That were all about the most djenty part of metalcore. Where it was like, here's a breakdown. But it's not a halftime breakdown necessarily where it focuses on the like halftime aspect of the song. It's like dunk 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 dunk, and it wasn't djenting because you weren't like using that staccato thing with the one string.
Right.
And so I was like, man, I do really still enjoy this music. But I haven't heard it in forever, so I can listen to it a little bit now. Probably not going to listen to it for a lot longer, but I want to get back to playing these songs. And then for some reason, Korn popped up. And I went and I listened to like Get Up, and I was like, oh, it's a good song. I can't listen to it anymore. I stopped after the first listen, but I went back to their first album and listened to like, I just don't want to say the word. And like Adidas and Blind. And Shoots and Ladders, and was like, yay, old stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt cool. And it's like that whole kind of wall of, oh, this shit kind of melted away.
Yeah. So before I forget, so what was your reaction this time when you listened to Meshuggah?
His voice was the second thing other than piano tone of the 8 strings. Because when I first listened to them, I didn't listen to any of their old stuff. That's
true. His vocal style has changed a little over time too.
Right. So it was good to get perspective on how it changed, so I could appreciate it more.
It also helps to think of his voice as another instrument.
But I would think of that
because
as Randy Blythe though, like or taking his style to go to when the dude in Tesseract finally screams because that new singer, that's all he's good at. He's not a good singer compared to the younger kid, pudgier dude. That recorded. Because I remember you took me down a path of that one time we were talking about Jen. And I was like, oh, you're like, yeah, this singer, but this guy's more popular and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. I think the guy they have currently, they had before.
They did,
and then he left to do some other thing, which I think was supposed to be more poppy, and then like Tesseract got bigger, so he came back.
Yeah, and then they let the other guy go, and the other guy he was the one that recorded that popular song.
The other guy had better like high range.
He did,
but it was all he had. He couldn't get aggressive, and he had a very light voice.
I mean,
saw
to
him
be
with
honest,
him
that's
once.
the sucky thing. Like,
Yeah.
you would say, well, let the other guy do harmonies with him, and then the harsh vocals. Let's
Yeah.
call it harsh vocals,
Right.
Because he couldn't do that.
I
At
feel like
all.
I could do that at all. Yeah, yeah.
I can't do that shit. I don't wish I could. I tried it one time.
I can do that shit now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that shit. I'll do that shit. I just gotta write the words for the. Well, I just gotta record a. That's why I gotta do a gentrified song soon too, because I'm just itching to
that's
try
the
some
thing.
of that out.
I can sing very well, and you can
I've
do
been
harsh
practicing
vocals, and you
singing
can
stuff.
sing.
Mhm.
So harmonies, but then I'm all out for the harsh
Yeah.
vocals, and it's all on you.
Yeah.
But I think that like by the time I'd gotten through like their late 80s shit and all the way through, it was more of a history lesson, so I wasn't able to truly come to the appreciation point.
Mhm. Well, yeah, you gotta find the songs you like is the trick.
I did, but
'cause I
I
don't
found that
necessarily like
one.
every track
What was
of
that one?
theirs.
Is it I am Colossus? Is the jung
Yeah,
Jung, right? That was cool, but then he started vocalizing, and then I
Yeah.
was done. I was like, I don't.
That's
like
how you do the
that.
voice too. You have to make the face. It helps a lot if you make the face. That's why I'm so good at making the face because I'm afraid.
I know. I've been watching a lot of Phil Anselmo videos recently. I know that.
Phil Anselmo.
Oh yeah, let's not go down there. I think so. The perfect example for me, just as a quick comment, because it's nothing to do with Gent, or the first band that I did like gave the fifth listen to was Mastodon. Mastodon, I did not like in the beginning. I just remember disliking the sound, and then the more and more I got to listen to them, the more and more I was like, I friggin' love this. And moving to New York, I got into Mastodon more. And it strayed from the metalcore bands that either could only do screamy harsh vocals or could only do harsh vocals and then melodies in the one key they were drop tuned to. Mastodon took it like a step further, and I love them. So Tool is a band that I've never been able to do. I've given them like the 8th chance.
Oh yeah, I'm not big on Tool. I've seen them.
Maynard is a good singer. He's a really good singer.
I saw them in '99.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to Ozfest in '99 and 2000, and I saw. Here, okay, let's just take a minute to list all the amazing bands I saw in the late '90s, which I didn't think was that big a fucking deal, but in retrospect, all of these are a huge fucking deal. I saw Tool, and I think this was I don't even know what album they were touring for. It was pre-Lateralis, I think, or maybe it was for Lateralis. Wait, when did Lateralis come out? It was 2001, maybe? Maybe it was pre-Lateralis. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't know any of their shit anyway. I was just like, I guess I should watch Tool.
Everyone says Tool's good.
Oh, wait, no. Megadeth was after Tool. So I was just like, I'm just going to sit through fucking Tool for Megadeth. Not only so it was Megadeth with Marty Friedman before he left.
Yeah.
And they hadn't made any, like, really shitty albums yet. So, like, it was... I mean, granted, I saw them with Meshuggah recently, and even now... Megadeth is still good live, and partially because Dave always hires good musicians, even if only for like a few years. But it was really awesome. Anyway, Tool, Megadeth. One of those was like, one of the first Ozzy Black Sabbath reunions, I think in 2000, and which they then did like 5 more times, which is why every time since I've been like, who gives a shit? Because they're always like, oh my God, Ozzy and Black Sabbath together again for the first time, for the last time again, forever, for the last time this time. And I'm like, I don't care. I saw that shit. And it was supposed to be like
really
the last
glad
time.
You're saying that.
It was supposed to be
really
like
glad you're saying that.
Either the last time or like they were trying to imply that it could be the last time.
I have another topic for the next podcast that we'll do together, and Black Sabbath not being monumental to me, just like the Beatles.
Oh, I can say some I got some hot takes on Black Sabbath.
Ozzy specifically. The band Black Sabbath as a whole.
Oh yeah. Well,
to
that's part of my thing. It's
Ozzy for me. That's the only problem.
Yeah, everything that's not Ozzy is better with Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath got so much better after Ozzy left, and I like solo Ozzy.
Ozzy
more,
got better after Black Label
Yeah.
Society became a band.
Well,
it's like, Zach, you became a band now. I like you.
Well, yeah. So, I'm getting a lot of message.
This is where This is where Zach Wilde like breaks down the door. And then we're in trouble. So I definitely will give Meshuggah another shot. Because
and even if you don't like just come to a show because it'll be fun as shit.
Like
and,
Jesus said, one must forgive.
It just reminded me of it's not even related.
I did like Bleed. I finally listened to Bleed for the first time the whole way through.
Bleed is
it's amazing.
It's a safe bet. It's the hit. It's the hit.
It's the hit.
Yeah. They have a few others that are good up there too, but that is like the surefire. If you don't like Bleed, you're probably not going to like Meshuggah.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Yeah.
But,
well, it also bears a really good memory for me when I was in the hospital, like with I just had surgery on the bad knee injury. A friend came in and he was like, "Hey, I figured you might need this." And I was surrounded by friends, and he came and I was like, "What's that?" And he brings in like a Beats pill and stuff, and then I hear just and I want to cry. I'm like, I really did need this. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah. And you just see the nurse like walking by the room like, what's going on? Is something broken in there? Is there a speaker broken? Like, nah, dude.
Yeah. So, well, here's an idea. Like, let me go over some of the bands that I think are like the second wave of like djent-adjacent.
I need to take notes of these for sure.
Okay, so there's I've mentioned before 12 Foot Ninja. They're definitely djent-adjacent. Their new album was not that new anymore, but it gets even a little more djenty because they were able. So the guy uses all variacs, and that's less. They
don't make extended range.
Well, here's the thing: they made him a signature model, and it's a longer scale. I mean, it's still like crazy digital stuff, and I won't go into all the details of it, but it made it a longer scale so it tracks better.
Right.
And he uses it in like below 8-string tuning. Right. And he goes down to like D, and it's ridiculous, but it kind of works. It's different, and you can I can still hear the Line 6 shit. I can still hear that it's digital, but whatever. I don't care because they write good songs, but the point is they do get kind of djenty on some stuff. But still, their whole deal is that when they do heavy stuff. But when they are doing non-heavy stuff, you know, it's all kinds of different styles of music and stuff too.
Were they shreddy, pre-gent? Like, because they weren't always gent, obviously. They've been out for a while.
They only have 2 albums. They haven't been around that. No, they're pretty new.
Oh.
And their first album is, I would say, they're both djent-adjacent. I think the second one is a little more djenty only because he was able to go lower and it sounds better.
Specifying djent-adjacent. I did listen to a 12 Foot Ninja one. Oh, and I will remember another thing to talk to you about. Remind me Devin Townsend in a second.
No edit, never happened. Nobody
don't know
knows.
what you're talking about.
Don't know what you're talking about.
So, 12 Foot Ninja. Right, so you were going to explain to me, I was going to ask, are they djent-adjacent? Because my little kitten is rolling over on his belly right now, adorably. No, is it because they have more of that, I suppose, pop element you were talking about with some djent or something like that?
Yeah, it's that they're very eclectic. It's a lot of the sort of prog approach of like mixing a bunch of different styles. The main guy, Stevik, he, I think, was like a session guy before he started the band, and so it's like, which is also part of why he used the Line 6 stuff. He was using to switch quickly between a lot of different styles of music, and the variacs is supposed to sound like different guitars.
You remember?
Yeah.
Well,
but the
you have to set one up. Will you please give me a shout out?
Well, the new one though, that's the other thing. I don't know if they. I don't know. Maybe Sam has just realized that when they buy the variacs, they sit there forever. But you'd think they would maybe get one of this one because this one is kind of cool. Like,
people will buy it.
Mainly, if you can ever see a demo of it, it's awesome because he is hilarious demoing it. Like I'm sure I told you about this from Winter Nam. I went to his demo of his guitar like 1.5 times because I missed part of it the first time, and I was like, that was so good, I want to go see it again because he's just a fun guy. He played a little bit of some of his songs with tracks, but he explains how all the stuff works, and it's gotten a lot better. I'm still all about real guitars and shit.
Yeah.
And then
But I mean, Variax, to be perfectly honest, became, not to make this into a total gearhead podcast, but throughout the time we worked at Sam Ash selling guitars, all of the robots, which is like the most barbaric, simplistic thing of that are, not being a natural guitar.
Yeah.
That was a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
That tanked beyond belief. Like, you could buy those cheaper than, I think they bottomed out maybe 6 years ago at $6.99. And they would sell them even without the charges, which don't get us started on this shit. Yeah. And then they released the Firebird X, and it's the first time I saw the guitars from the Roots come in. And I don't think you were there for that yet, because Ari Mannheimer worked there. Shout out to Ari Mannheimer. And that was also bullshit. That didn't move. They transferred it out because no one would buy it.
Yeah.
And then the Variax is the tech guys, like the reps or whatever, came in. They were really quite good. They honestly were. They were much better than the Gibson guys that came out to demo those shit guitars. Yeah. And they did well. So I would not be surprised if that did better for folks.
Well, yeah, and like 12-Foot Ninja must be doing okay if Line 6 is working with them to make him a guitar and stuff. Yeah. And it basically was like an update to the whole Variax system. Right. Because the software was a huge update too. And they basically showed it off with his guitar. It's also way more metal looking if you're looking for that kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it looks like...
So this is a departure from, by the way, for people that don't know about the original Variaxes, they had Strat bodies. Yeah. And then they started to introduce like pure black versions of it that looked a bit more ESP rigid in their cutaways.
They were ugly-ass guitars.
They also just like... They basically took... Rondo Music's SX Strats looked better than them. Like, they honestly were like going to Walmart and buying like not even a first act. They looked better. The bodies just looked like they were $100 toys. And they were heavy because, I mean, you had to have that much electronics on deck. Oh, he's showing me a picture right now. Hold on.
That's what he looks like.
That is sexy. That is sexy.
So it's kind of cool. And that pickup is like, you don't even use that because...
Wait, what is it?
Because, I don't know, there's a pickup in it, but like you mostly it uses piezo pickups in the bridge saddles, and that's what it uses for all the Variax stuff. Yeah. And it works because, but that's the point. Like, it's super...
Can you use them in conjunction with one another?
Yeah, but it's like just a random regular pickup.
I imagine you could stereo out like each pickup, right?
Yeah, but it's almost not worth it. Like, the whole point is that the whole Variax thing, you're basically faking everything is the deal. Right. But the piezo pickups track better because you're basically tracking. It's kind of like, like the synth guitars. In a lot of ways, it's similar in that it's kind of like that kind of... You're tracking what you're playing, but you're not using the actual like magnetic pickup picking up the vibrations. You're using piezo pickups picking up the vibrations, and then modeling both the guitar and the amp and everything, and changing the tuning and all that stuff.
Short digression before a question. I will bring up this video later when we're eating, so you know what, people listening, this is just not for you. But maybe you want to check this out, because I only got so far into it. Joe Satriani. Let's try that again. This has been brought to you by Johnny Walker Ray. Joe Satriani gifted Brendan Small. That's why I immediately clicked on this video, by the way. It was Brendan Small of Deathclock, Metalocalypse, and Joe Satriani sitting down, and the previous video I'd ever seen of Joe Satriani, because he's been gone on my radar for forever, was They Don't Know How Broke I Am. I'm like, wow, that sucks. So the next one I see today is Joe Satriani and Brendan Small. I'm like, that's fucking cool. I'm going to click on that. And he's like, so, I'm just dinging up all of Brendan Small's guitars. Wow, that's tuned low. And I'm like, oh, Joe, good God. And then Joe Satriani gifts him this Ibanez, one of his. What I like to call the dildos guitars cutaways. Oh, yeah. Because the cutaways are like, they're very phallic on either side. And then he said, I don't use your guitar on stage, and I don't use it a lot because you were right. I'm staying away from these magnetic pickups now, blah, blah, blah. They sound so good or whatever. We should watch that later because I've not seen the whole thing. And I would recommend everyone checking out any video that has Brendan Small in it plus Joe Satriani, because people would think, oh wow, Brendan Small is automatically cooler. No, in my opinion, Joe Satriani is that much cooler now because Brendan Small was next to him.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I watched the was it like G3 or something like that?
Yeah.
But
Dude,
it was like G6.
Brendan.
It was like a lot of dudes.
Oh, there's so many jokes we could make there. Brendan Small was like, all right, guys, we're going to blah, 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 blah. And so Brendan Small starts doing a monologue and chatting with the crowd. And this is what I love because he's a comedian. This is what's great. So they're starting to play Rockin' in the Free World, and he's like, all right, guys, bring it down. He tells Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and Tosin Abasi to bring it down so he can talk. And then you're like, oh, he must have, like, Brendan's, like, getting serious. It's probably because he's playing with his heroes. And then he's like, yeah, so I just found out I won this competition while I'm on stage, so I get paid to be here, and I get this guitar, and it's Tosin's. Tosin, I expect 8-string lessons from you. Thank you. And I'm like, he's just being such a dick. It's awesome. And then he sings, and I've yet to pinpoint this on speakers because I was playing this on my iPhone. Brendan Small, completely off pitch, galactically, pun intended, horribly whenever the harmonies come in, mainly, is like a half step off.
Ooh.
Singing Keep On Rockin' in the Free World.
Ugh.
So when you hear E, 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 C, 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 B flat, is it? Or something like that. No, E, B, A. Sorry, it's a 1-5-4. You hear Keep On Rockin' in the Free World. And I'm like, oh my God, who's screwing that up? And then I hear the high voice. I'm like, no, wait, that's Steve Vai doing the higher harmony. Whatever it is, the fifth or whatever, probably the third. And you see Joe Satriani just kind of, and I was like, damn, you sucked, dude. But we'll watch that later. Yeah. Massive digression.
But yeah, so 12-Foot Ninja, it's that, it's really obvious on the first album. To the first album, they had the Variax, but it could only really do like standard, drop D, drop A. And maybe like B, maybe like an wait, I don't know if it could do
and
B.
And that's what was that?
The
with
old
the
Variax.
So that was
the
modeling with
right.
the piezo.
So the new one, it can do any tuning. You can set the strings to like any plus or minus.
There's that fucking weird thing where you got to like push a button and then pick a note, and then it will tune the string to like the note or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like that. This is all like there's software. Like you can set this all up to like have your Helix foot switch change the tuning and guitar model along with the amp stuff.
Is Helix specifically for Axe Effects or?
No, it's the Line 6. It's the Line 6.
Oh,
it's
right.
the Line 6 Axe Effects. Because
go ahead, you can say it.
Because
Matt's face right now is really funny. He's like, ugh.
Yeah, well, because like I mean, sure, Line 6 like invented all that shit, but the fractal stuff, they took it way further.
Yeah. And
then the Helix is kind of there, like as close as they can get to it. But my thing is always like. The thing that people don't seem to get about Axe Effects versus Line 6, like Line 6, they'll update stuff periodically, but it doesn't seem like it's like they'll do a big update once in a while. The Fractal dude is like obsessively updating it constantly, and it is completely free. Like you don't need to upgrade. It's just they're constantly putting out new versions at a ridiculous rate, and every iteration is more and more accurate for whatever it's modeling. Like it went from like, modeling just 12AX7 preamp tubes to like 12AX7 versus different types to now there are multiple types of 12AX7s in there. And that's just the preamp tubes. And so you can take whatever amp you're using that's based on the real amp and you can swap out the and there's not the only one who can do that now. That's where everything's going. They're modeling, instead of just kind of approximating the sound of an amp, it's like you're trying to really digitally copy the circuitry and get what it would sound like if you had that amp. And Fractal is just so good at that, and they're so constantly updating their shit. It's just I just think there's no contest, and so you can still get really good sounds with like the Helix and stuff, and it's a perfectly good unit, just to me, it's like if you're gonna be like that versus Fractal, I'm like, yeah, get the fucking Fractal. Like if you're, and now the Axe 8, the like floorboard version, like all in one of the Fractal, is cheaper. Which of course I have, is cheaper than the Helix. Now, I mean,
really,
there's a cheap version of the Helix now too, which I don't know really the compare. I don't know how you compare them exactly.
But you could probably safely assume.
Yeah, but the point is the full. I don't know what's even like stripped down on the cheaper Helix, but the regular Helix versus the Axe 8. The Axe 8 is cheaper, and it's just it's so good. But anyway,
by the way, this past like 15 minutes has been solely for guitar nerds and guitar musicians.
Anyway, the point is
12-Foot Ninja.
The point is 12-Foot Ninja's second album. It sounds better because the Line 6 stuff that he's using is a whole new generation that they developed somewhat with him, and also just like that was what they were working on. So he uses it to really full effect. Like he'll switch between like. I really wanted to make like a joke video as a response to a video he made because he demonstrates using the Helix foot switch to switch between, like it's a 6-string guitar, and he'll switch between like 6-string standard to 7-string standard to 8-string. He's just dropping it in like another fourth each patch, and I want to make a video where I'm like, here's how you can also do that, and I have an 8-string guitar, and I go standard, B, F sharp, right? You just do it by having the extra strings, and then you don't have to switch anything. Like, I know that's his whole point is that I don't have to do that shit. But I'm like, or you could just play an 8-string like a grown up or something. I just want to make some condescending bullshit about.
You know what would be really awesome is when you push the pedal board, and then I don't know what this is considered in video editing, where it edits and the guitar just disappears from your hand and it becomes a 7-string and you're like, and this one makes it an 8-string. You push it and then it just appears as an 8-string.
Yeah.
It even changes the body shape of the guitar and the brand.
Yeah.
So 12-Foot Ninja is djent-adjacent. Are there any others?
Okay. So yeah. So
so aside of the like,
I really
form,
didn't get far at all listing them. So let me see if I can think of. So there's 12-Foot Ninja. There's Lattermath, who
never ever even heard.
You haven't heard of them because they're very new and small, and we know them. That's why we know. Because Rich went to Berkeley with one of the guitar players, Ben Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So but they. I don't know if they've been around. I think they had an older album. I don't know if or maybe they didn't put it out. I don't know. But the point is. Rich told me about them before, but I don't know if they had anything out. They have an album out now. It's very much djent. Like basically, we had this whole joke where they were like, "We're not really a djent band," and we're like, "You a djent band, but you also made like one of the best djent records yet." Like, it's
in you guys' opinion. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
It's right, and keep in mind, Rich is the guy who tells his friends when he doesn't like their new album. Okay, so like, another example is they're not so. For comparison's sake,
comparisons. I'm sorry, I had to.
For
good guitars.
So like another band we know, they're from Lattermath's from Boston, because of Berkeley, and we also Rich also knows this other band, Protean Collective. And the guitar player and singer / also guitar player, Graham and Steph, they also went to Berkeley. I think they all went to Berkeley at the same time. So basically, those are two like partially Berkeley bands. But Protean Collective, they're more prog, and they're not really. I mean, they've got like they're not so much doing the djenty thing, but the point was. Their first album, Rich really didn't like, and he really told them that. But their second album came out, and he was like, it's one of the best albums of the year, and it's really, really good. It's way better than your last album. And he told them that, and like very clear. So it's like, so you know that he means it for sure, because he had no problem telling you that he thought the first one sucked. So similar to that, yeah, he's like, Lattermath is really good. It's like when he first heard it, because he heard it before that he released it.
Mhm.
He was like, it's one of the best djent albums I've heard, even though they keep insisting they're not a djent band. And so it finally came out, and I was like, yeah, well, because they're, it's kind of prog too. Like there's a certain kind of like tesseract and even periphery. There's enough mixing of stuff. It's like some people will kind of call them prog, and some people call them djent or project. It's all kind of in that same area. But the point is that any modern prog band that seems to be doing well seems to be gravitating towards the djentiness, because so another good example of that, not that I'm not into them as much, but I don't know if you've heard of Haken.
No.
They are very much the old style of prog, like Dream Theater prog, and even kind of like earlier, lighter prog. A lot of like Yes kind of stuff. A little bit like they started off completely Dream Theater clone. Okay, and more recently they've moved into 8-string guitars.
Right.
And it's not super djenty, but 8-string guitars with any kind of dun 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 dun. Even if they're trying to be proggy, if on an 8-string guitar, it starts to sound like djent. Because prog used to do that before there were, you know what I mean? Like the whole like staccato odd rhythm part has been around. It's been around since like 70s prog rock.
Rush.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly. Totally. And so so that's been, so that's kind of, in a sense, Haken is, they're doing well with like the prog scene is the point, and they're a little closer to like normal prog metal, but they've gone 8-string and they've gotten a little djenty in order, I think. I mean, the point is it's working for them. And another example is Voyager, who is an Australian prog metal band who their newest album is suddenly also djent-adjacent. But I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's just the fact that they tuned to the appropriate tuning. Because even before they had the lower 7 strings and the guy got like Aftermath pickups, they still had that like djent, but like the classic prog way.
Is djent-adjacent something that you have coined or you've heard?
I mean, I started saying it before I heard anyone. I've heard other people say it.
Because I think that a good point you're making here, whether you're trying to or not, is that the more the bands that are developing from this now, and this is not what we've talked about before, where we're like stupid, insignificant, subbing out a subgenre.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is that they're prog bands that are now either adhering to djent, whether they intended or not, or djent bands that are adhering more to prog.
Right. It's
like Periphery's good songs, and you know what? There's one I'll add to that djent-adjacent band, and I would highly recommend everyone check them out. And I'll be brutally honest as well, but I also have to be fair to them. I saw a video for a band called Pangea. I am probably bumming that up. Pangea was the large landmass that was Earth before it split into Laurasia and Gondwana land. I was a total dinosaur nerd when I was a kid. Yes, you can tell. Make fun of me. Go for it. But I saw them on like a Djent World video, and I saw this bassist and this 2 guitarists, and you immediately knew that they all went to play classical guitar together because you saw their like footstools up. But it was this instrumentation of this longer song, and it was a story. It indulged in prog and djent, and it was on Djent World whatever on YouTube, and I was like, damn, these guys are great. And then I listened to them more, and then I saw that they had a web series called Evan and Trey Doing the Riffs. The whole little intro, Evan and Trey, they're doing the riffs, squeal. And then they would do everything from old school Metallica, Meshuggah, to Slipknot, to... They wouldn't go down the new metal realm. It would have to be more metal, to like Periphery, to Testament, to everything. They they were not bothered by like, I suppose, like common misconceptions of the band. I don't want to say they did a Limp Bizkit riff at one point, but they may have for a laugh. But like they've got 8 strings, they play all like Testament, everything Tesseract, and they're on like episode 127, but they only do a minute and a half which is what's really catchy about it.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, like they've done Welcome Home, Coheed and Cambria, metal, just fucking metal, like we were talking about. And then they've done a couple of full songs like way back in the day, but come on. They got a great intro. It's hilarious. One of them falls off of a skateboard with his King V. Jackson, and then they really, really accurately, with feeling, play these covers. So I looked them up, and then I saw them touring, and then I saw their singer, and I think their singer played keys, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
So the original stuff didn't hold up.
No, the original stuff did. I heard them do instrumentals of it, kind of like the beginnings of Periphery. But then I think I may have that may have been don't take that to the grave for me, because I think he might be a good vocalist and whatever. But then the guitarist and the bassist, they would all sing backup. But the harsh vocals were done by the keyboard player. I think I need to go back and revisit them again, but I love them. Definitely djent-adjacent, where they use prog and djent, and just melodic metal in general. Yeah. Not to be confused with symphonic in any way.
Oh yeah.
But there's one for you to check out. Yeah. I need to get back into
them. Yeah, and so right. I think that's where things are. Is that the initial wave of dumb djent bands that only do one or two things? I think that's kind of ending, which is good. Yeah. And what we're seeing is the replacement, which is integrating the good parts of it with other stuff. You make actual music with it. Yes. So that's why it's like, I don't think djent's dead, but I think it's actually improved in a way.
The forefathers like Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer will always be there. Yeah. And in this case, it would be Meshuggah, Tesseract, Periphery, and who was the fourth one that you said?
Maybe the Contortionist. I don't know.
You put them in a lower level.
Well, they're better than Monuments.
Right, but Monuments you immediately put in a lower level.
Right.
There was someone else probably. We'll go back and listen to it.
'Cause I don't actually listen to them, but
that's cool. Yeah. We started off talking about nothing, and we talked about a lot of shit.
Yeah, well, so I think
djent's not dead, guys. It's just taking on the next form.
Yeah. And I think people are really quick to be like, "Oh, I think that's over," and I'm like, "No, it's just taking on a new shape."
Yeah, watch G6 and watch Tosin Abasi because just watch it. I'm not even gonna say. Yeah, some things happen that I was like, oh,
that whole sequence where you go to the solos is hilarious. Dude, when they're trading solos.
You know what? So you watched that?
I watched. Well, I went to the part you said because
10:30.
Yeah.
Well, so what was awesome? Did you just go straight to it?
I did, but then I backed up, and the stuff before it is really. That's the whole point. I went when they were trading like 4 bars or like four, like a measure each.
Did you go back through the whole thing?
No, I didn't watch the whole thing.
So when you start off, you see Brendan like shaking his head at himself like a classical musician, like, "Nah, that sucked." And you're like, "Yeah, Brendan, you could have done better." But he's critical of himself and would never accept anyone else's critique. He'd be like, "No, I knew that. Fuck you."
Yeah.
Which is what I love about him. But they all start to go through it. And you can tell in the first 2 minutes, like even Tosin, to be honest, dude, you're like, you guys are warming up.
Well, I always hated the jams at the end of G3s because it's always rocking in the free world for one fucking thing every fucking time.
No,
and then
very honestly, I was sick of it.
There's a few other similar, like they'll do Zappa, My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama, and a few other ones, but it's always some simple.
I want that song to burn in hell because we worked at Samash.
Yeah, well, it's always
my guitar wants to shut up.
Yeah, it's always and so it's always some simple ass blues song, and then they fucking like wank over it, and of course it doesn't sound like appropriate. You know what I mean? Like, especially when they're touring with like Yngwie, rocking the free world with Yngwie, and he's like, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, when Tosin started to be like,
scale does not work.
When they went through and Tosin like actually did his like thumping kind of thing, it was like
that was one of the better parts.
But it didn't make any sense.
No, it didn't
and I was like,
make sense.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well, you know what? You need to go back to the beginning of it again. Yeah. I'll say that the first 2 minutes.
He does a sweep one too, where it's like me doing that sweeps at the last open mic. It was like, and you're like, what the fuck?
Hey guys, Folsom Prison Blues experiment. How many sweeps can you do?
Fit over this?
Yeah, you gotta go through that and listen to the whole thing, because I was about ready to turn it off when the wankery started to get good and they were really doing a great thing. And at 10:30, I didn't need to watch anymore, because the moment Brendan Small played what he played, which we're not going to name, and none of the guys laughed,
Yeah.
I was like, fuck you, Steve Vai. Fuck you, Joe Satriani.
Yeah.
They didn't pan the camera to Tosin.
Mm.
Who was the guy on the far right? Is that who Marcel was commenting on? Chugging eighth notes? He was really good.
Oh, the bass player.
No, the guitar player.
Oh.
The old dude.
Why don't I know who this is? I feel like I should know.
I had no idea who he was. I also just saw the price tag on that 12-foot Ninja guitar. Like, nah.
Yeah.
1,400 my arse. It kind of looks like David Gilmour, to be honest. There he is.
Oh, it's Mike Keneally.
Is that who
Yeah.
Marcel was commenting on?
No, I thought he was talking about the bass player, but it's possible. But Mike Keneally he played with Frank Zappa, and then he kind of has his own band, Beer for Dolphins. Brian Beller, who also plays with Death Clock, the bass player. Oh, it was Brian Beller, the bass player. That's who he was commenting on.
He's the one that plays for Death Clock?
He plays for Death
Dude,
Clock.
I watched a video of him to do the two-fingered,
Yeah, and Mike
technique.
Keneally, I think, is also like the other guitar player.
He
for Death Clock.
is. Oh.
He's played with a ton of people. He's toured with like Vi before. He's really good at both keyboard and guitar. And so he was one of, I think, the first dudes who did like I'm going to play a solo on guitar and keyboard at the same time kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like but right, he's not a flashy guy, and so you're like, whose dad is playing?
Honestly, he plays. First of all, I thought he was a guy that won a guitar competition for Sam and actually got to sit in. And then the second thought was, why is he playing more relevant shit than any of the other guys that I know up there? I know the other four guys.
No, he's really good. I briefly got into his stuff in college, and it's because it's weird. Some of it is a little Zappa-like, and but.
Yeah. But, unfortunately, if you look like David Gilmour's brother,
right,
you might not be as popular as Tosin Abasi and his,
Yeah, well, and he's not super flashy, but he's really good.
He plays things that are relevant, though, to what the song was.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But still was able to venture into the realms of quote-unquote shred.
Mm.
He could. He was awesome.
Yeah.
His technique, his tone. That's like comparing Ruslan Isakov, a guy we used to work with, to like some of the other fast-playing guitarists. He was one of my favorites because you could hear every note.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Ruslan Isakov. How many podcasts have I been on where I've given a shout out to Ruslan?
A few.
So Gent's not dead, kids.
Yeah. Well, so let's see. I'm trying to think of what else has been new and interesting with that. Oh, I know. Well, we did this whole... We talked on another episode, me and Rich, about... We watched a bunch of stuff from, like, rap gent bands. So it's already come around to, like... The new metal equivalent for gent. Oh, it's already happened, and it's already a thing, and there's multiple bands. That's the thing. The 8 strings have like been distributed, so like there's a lot of new pseudo gent stuff that's not really gent, but is kind of like genting. Oh man, we gotta. This is gonna be. I can't play it, but it'll be on another episode. But a similar thing that Eric sent us the other night. Maybe I shouldn't mention. I don't want to ruin it, but it won't ruin it.
Don't ruin it. Tell me after.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah. You know what I love about podcasts and like Let's Plays and things is when they're like, oh no, don't. Tell me later, and they leave it in, and you're like, I really want to know.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm gonna listen to all your other episodes.
I just want everyone to know we're gonna listen to so much cool shit after this on YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cook us a sweet dinner.
All right, so what else? There's got to be some other...
I've been solidly like in place with the gent bands I've listened to, but it's really good to talk to other people about it, and not in a shitty negative way where like oh yeah, Monuments just didn't click it for me. Like I bought that album. I bought it. Yeah. And when I say that album, I'm not even going to name it because I don't remember what it's called. Paganagadasas, the one with the weird face on it or whatever, that looks ethereal. But there was like 2 songs on it that I thought were really good, but it was just so drum heavy in the mix. But again, it's for me. I just listen to Periphery, Tesseract every now and again because it just sounds like a giant 4-hour movie that my butt's gonna hurt. Sitting down for too long in the theater. So there's only certain things I can get through, unless it can be that great background music while I'm concentrating on something else.
Yeah, well, that's my thing with Tesseract. Too much of it sounds like background music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a movie, which again they took the name Tesseract, so go figure.
Yeah.
But I definitely need to get into some more of these djent-adjacents. Again, I would recommend Pangea.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out the new Lattermath album. It's on Spotify.
And 12 Foot Ninja, would you recommend that?
Oh, I would recommend the fuck out of 12 Foot Ninja. I like them so much because they have the songwriting.
I've never heard you say that before.
They have they have the like when they do like melodic vocal parts, like it's they write good hooks, but it's not super predictable. So it's a good blend of like, you know, you got your gentiness and stuff, and then you've got basically just, you know, songs you could sing along to or whatever kind of thing. So it's got that, like, people might call it like a poppy element, but it's really more just like there's accessible melodies and there's accessible.
You need it,
right? And because they do this thing where they every clean part is like maybe a different style. There's you know, unexpected shifts to different styles of music is kind of part of their thing, so part of that is that you get the like heavy djenty parts, but yeah, you're not just stuck in like pointless djent land is the point. And like that was the thing where a lot of stuff I saw, especially the earlier times I saw Periphery, other bands that were playing with them. Well, Monuments for one was one of them, but there have been other ones like this one time there was this band called Intronaut. They were one of these sort of instrumental djent with no melodies. So it's just like a band djenting. And the opener of that show was somebody called Cloud Kicker, who is just some dude on the internet who just like makes his tracks and posts them, but like there was enough interest for him to like open this tour. But he doesn't have a backing band, so Intronaut was his backing band. So the first set was this dude and Intronaut being his backing band. Every song was like a kind of it wasn't even really djenty. It a little bit of the like, you know, polyrhythmic feel of djenting.
It was enough to piss you off.
It would so like
be that.
He would play like it'd be like a groove, right?
Okay.
A groove is not because it was like 6 strings. It was probably in drop C or like open C or something. Drop C being the dumbest of all tunings. And
really, you think so?
I think so. I have a full thing about it now, which is it's dumber than open C, because
open C or standard C.
No, drop C. Open C is when is like double drop, right? It's when you have C, and you have like at least 3 Cs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Who the fuck plays metal in open C?
Oh, everybody. Periphery uses it. Devin Townsend, he's
God, I got questions.
Are they why he sucks now? Because that's part.
Because
I think
of the
that's
Devin Townsend project. You don't like it?
Well, here's the thing. All of his stuff over the last few years has kind of all sounded the same, and I think it's partially that he's run out of ideas because everything he does is in that same tuning or a variation on it. Even when he goes to 7 strings, so his 6 strings are like, it's like GCG or something like that. I think that's right. Yeah, because instead of DAD, instead of like Dadgad, it's CGC and then another C. And when he goes to 7 string, it's like GCGC. So it's like the same kind of double the notes as many times as possible kind of tuning. And so as a result, he can do these like 3 octaves. But then he just does that all the time. And he's been doing it for a decade. So it's like you maybe use a different tuning now because like you run out of shit you can do.
Yeah.
And there's only so many ways you can play things because it makes certain things really easy, but then you can't
you on
do other things at all. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's a big. So part of my thing though is that I think I call drop C the dumbest of all tunings because if you go as far as like the open C with the extra redundant notes, it's like at least you know that you're doing that, and you're doing it because you know that you then can do all these simple shapes and move octaves around. But drop C, like, you're not even using those three high strings most of the time, probably. So you don't even know about those relationships because you're just like, I can play with one finger, right? So that's why I think drop C is the dumbest of all tunings. Is most bands that are using just straight up drop C. I think there's a lot of bands that are playing just straight up drop C, and it's dumb. Open C isn't, or not open C, but standard C. Like,
standard C, yeah,
isn't dumb at all, and it's
like open. I've never. So the vast majority of the music that I have to play with, groups that I play with and whatnot, if I'm ever doing an open tuning, it's because open G became like the first tuning that I fucked with on all the instruments that I play open G on a whatever guitar I put it in, whether it's acoustic or electric, depending on what electric I put it in. And then I have two cigar box guitars, one of them which is 1513 in open G. So the root, the fifth, the root, and then the major third, and then the other cigar box I have, which was handmade by a friend for me, is just a 151, no major third. He had it in like A sharp or something when I got it, and I put it into G because I could tolerate it. So I honestly did not know. I knew the Periphery used a bunch of weird tunings, but the thing is that when I listened to so much metalcore like 9-10 years ago, I would try and play it, and I learned a lot of techniques playing. And I would play when I first got my first decent electric guitar, because I'm a massive Queens of the Stone Age fan. I took my Walmart $99 first act guitar and I put 12s on it. I'd said to my mum, "String this for me. I don't know how to string it." She's like, "Sure." And then I'm running into the room, and then she's like, "Jamie, it won't tune up to E." And I'm like, "Well, stop!" Like, the neck is like, "Ah!" So I'm like, no, don't do that. There's a reason why. But, dumbass me didn't explain that. Like, don't tune it up for me, please. But then when I would listen to a lot of metalcore, they were all in standard C. It was August Burns drop C. August Burns Red, Kill Switch Engage,
exactly,
etc. In Flames, bands I didn't listen to. And I still like that tuning. I just don't play in it anymore. Yeah. But I'm about to tune a guitar to it. I just retuned my Explorer, like I said, to C, standard C, and I'm like, yay. But I honestly didn't know that people used open tunings in metal as frequently.
Well, more recently, and I think Devin Townsend started it to some degree, because he's been doing that a long time. He's been using those kind of tunings a lot. And he's not the only one.
Seven strings never came to be a metal thing until Vi used the Universes, and then bands like Queens of the Stone Age, Caius before. Caius would just downtune as low as they could with whatever gauge they could before it got floppy. And then bands like Korn came around with the 7-string. Yeah. And that became more predominantly used.
Right. Well, and, like Dream Theater, John Petrucci. Oh, this is kind of interesting. So John Petrucci got a Vi Universe. Like, he was like one of the first guys to get one, because he got one from Vi.
Right.
Or maybe from Ibanez or whatever. The point is he got like a direct, before it was even like a production model, or so, maybe there was, I don't know, maybe it was a production model, but they got him one. He recently recounted the story because he got it like right when they were recording Awake. And so he immediately was just like, what do I do with the 7-string? All right. And he immediately wrote the first thing that came to mind. Like, it makes sense because some of the riffs on it were like, if you had never seen a 7-string before and used to playing a 6-string and you're in a metal band and you're like, what do I do with a 7-string? That's what you would do with it.
Yeah.
Now, and if you had it being John Petrucci, that's exactly what you do with it. Because like the song "Lie" is just such a like, it's just this
is Floyded, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just a regular metal riff, but on a 7-string, and the solo, he of course has to play all of the strings. Right. He starts at the bottom and he does this whole like, he goes all the way up kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because he's John Petrucci. And 7 strings are new, and I'm gonna play all of them. Right, so this, and I was like, yeah, let me get one of those. I'm gonna play all of them too. And then like when I was in Mirror Black, our drummer Raven would go around and brag to people that we played 7 strings. Like he'd be like, "Hey, it's Maddie's my band. We got 2 really good shredded guitars, and they both play 7 strings. And well, like some of these guys, they play all of them. They play all of the strings. They use all of them." And I'd be like, "Yes, we play all of the notes."
Like something I wouldn't say out loud a lot.
So here's the funny thing. So Petrucci recently said that he's going to finally get an 8-string because
when you say Petrucci said, it sounds like a biblical reading. Not because of you worshipping
Right.
Petrucci, but you're like, Petrucci, what? You're like, Isaiah, the prophet Petrucci once said.
So, well, okay, so up until a certain point, so he got on the 7 strings early, and in the early 2000s he messed around with some weird like baritone guitars and shit.
Right.
But he hasn't touched 8 strings, and apparently he claims he hasn't played one, or he hasn't owned one or played one, and so he still hasn't fucked with it at all.
Do you think he's doing this just to fuck with kids with heads? Like,
no, but there's definitely an element of like, and now I shall address the 8 string, right? Which I get, but the fact is, like, you should have done it 5 years ago, because that's what I did. I was like, it's about time I figured out what this 8 string shit is about.
Yeah.
But here's what's funny is, like, so he posted this, and he posted that Ernie Ball's, working on an 8 string for him, and basically he doesn't know when it's going to be ready, but when it is, he wants to do the same thing with it. He wants to, like, receive it and immediately be in the studio and see what comes out.
Receive it. He wishes to receive it to his hand.
But here's the thing. So, like, the point is, when he did that in the 90s with the 7 string, nobody had them. So it made sense that you could do anything and it would sound new. 8 strings have been around now, and everybody has them. And he's going to be like, I'm a 8 string. It's like, you should, like, so the whole approach doesn't make as much sense, because it's not like, because, like, he could do something that he could, it's very possible he could make one sound like shit, because the way his tone has been going is kind of the opposite.
I can see where this is going.
It's the opposite of where Djent's tone has been going.
Right,
and so
right.
if he doesn't sort of EQ it right, it could sound really shitty.
Do you think he'd be that bad with it?
I mean, I don't think it's that likely. But at the same time, I don't like the last few albums, and just the way his tone has been going. Like, it's not.
I mean, he writes stuff and then he hands it off to the rest of Dream Theater. I've never, ever been a dude that listens to Dream Theater, not by choice, just haven't. And I do understand and I agree with and I really enjoy the concept of here's another instrument, here's what you're writing now. Kurt Cobain did it. Chris Novoselic talked about it. He said every time I go to a pawn shop and I found a lefty, I'd hand it to him and then there'd be a new album. Every time I picked up a new tuning, whether it's relative to another, but it's just dropped down in the equal increments. Yeah, I immediately start playing differently.
Right. Well, no, and
it's like that comment I put up online where I'd said I'd tuned my Explorer to standard C. I was tired of not having a guitar in that, and Marcel had said something blah 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 blah, and I was like, I know he already knows this. I just had to say it. I was like, well, no, the tone, the timbre is different. It's not the same when you have like a 6 string in that. Yeah. If I was to tune a guitar to standard B, it would be different than having a 7 string. Yeah. It just would be different. Yeah. You would play it differently. However, I like, because John Petrucci more, that you're saying like, that doesn't make sense and he might fuck this up. Well,
right, because the thing is like, that approach makes sense, except it's funny to me because it's so late in the game.
Oh yeah,
and it's partially
when first he was first, and now he shall be last.
Right. Well, that's right. That's why it's so weird. And it's like, and he's like, and I'm sure everyone's super excited. I'm sure all the guitars like, oh my god, but I was like, why didn't you do that several years ago? And like, instead of the astonishing, I mean, granted, I don't know.
You've seen that YouTube video where he like eye laser absorbs the thing?
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to do with all the 8 string music.
Part of it is that I feel like, part of it is me going like, too late, motherfucker! Because I personally started doing this process like 3 years ago, right? I was like, I'm gonna get an 8 string, figure out what the fuck is up. Now I recently like finally got the 8 string I'm happy with.
Oh, it looks gorgeous.
But the best part is, not only does it look and sound great, I already have shit written for it, because I was writing on them other 8s and they didn't quite sound right or feel right.
Other 8s, I don't think they would appreciate you talking about.
Well, I'm not going to talk about them. They don't deserve it, or I'll do a separate thing on them at some point. I'm going to do a thing on them, but I need to finish selling them first. So
yeah,
like this is a piece of shit. You want to buy it? But the fact is, I got used to playing them, and I wrote stuff, and so part of me is like, too late, John Petrucci. Like, let's see what the fuck you wrote on A string. It's gonna be garbage. Like, I don't know. It's part of me just being like. So also, like, I don't know if you saw my post about that Tenacious D song Dio. You know the Tenacious D song Dio, right?
Oh,
Dio, too old to rock, no more rocking for you.
Don't quote that to me.
Well, no, but part of my thing about it was that it was.
Oh, I did see that. You said that about Petrucci.
It was never true. Is the thing is Dio never got too old to rock. But Petrucci, lately, well, I want to be like...
You don't want to hear Dream Theater from, like, the 90s being played on an 8-string, you know, where he says he's going to... Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's there's a lot of... The last album was, like, you know, excessively long double album of Disney music, basically. Again, the last album is so bad.
I mean that was universal. I did see you when that came out. I saw you lose your shit about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also saw massive like shit talk on that album.
Yeah, it's interesting because when it came out, the prog scene, there are a lot of people who are like, "Oh, so good," but then lately, I see more and more of the opposite. I see more and more people just coming out of nowhere to be like, as long as they don't play anything off the astonishing. What a piece of crap. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, but like the reviews, because like all the prog sites that write like reviews seem to be the fucking prog dorks who like all the dumb whittly shit that doesn't make any sense, but they can't tell the difference between when it makes sense and doesn't make sense. And so they're just like, the new Dream Theater album comes out and they're like, oh, I did it again. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, it's double album. It takes fucking 5 hours to listen to, and fucking it's like Game of Thrones and shit. Because like, yeah, like they went for some kind of, I mean, did we do an album about, or I mean, sorry, did we do an episode? I'm trying to remember if we did an episode about this album. We probably should have if we did not.
Well, would have been you and Rich. I don't know shit.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember if I even did one, because I listened to it.
It's a bad sign on 60 episodes.
I probably haven't done an episode on it. But maybe because I didn't know what to say other than it's bad. I mean, I'm sure I've said it on the show. I just don't think we did an actual episode about what a piece of crap it is, because I didn't want to listen to it. That was part of it. I didn't want to do like a listen through it. It's too fucking long. Oh. It's long as shit, and I can't remember any songs from it. But yeah, so like I mean, this was always my interest in djent from the beginning. Is like, cool, take some of the cool djenty stuff and then maybe put it in a song, right? Which to some degree Periphery does. I just don't like the songs they write when they do it. And I mean, their djenty parts are okay, but that's the part I like about Periphery. It's just the rest of the parts, and then the singing, and and I watched a bunch of that live concert I found that had no singer and no bass player, although they still had the bass. The bass was just a track.
Nolly's ghost. They're gonna just like project Nolly down.
But it was weird because like yeah, there was I don't know.
You were trying to find something good to say about Periphery, and then your soul kicked in.
Yeah, and then I was like, fuck Periphery.
I still really love them. They've changed a lot about my life musically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I never listened to Dream Theater or Rush. Maybe that's why. Prog never hit me until the last like 5 years, and now I'm obsessed with it. But not obsessed to the point of chasing other people's prog, but more just trying to embrace the laws of it.
Yeah. Well, you know, part of the thing with prog is that there's a distinct line between progressive and prog, right? Like when like prog rock started in the 70s, it was progressive, and there was different stuff that wouldn't be considered prog by modern standards, but it definitely was at the time. And then because it was literally anything that was trying to like push the boundaries and push the limits and all that kind of shit. And then over time, probably around the like 90s and 2000s, when more metal was combined with prog rock, mostly through like Dream Theater, Fate's Warning, and Watchtower, then bands started copying those styles, and then it kind of just became prog, which sounds like prog, which is like any kind of complicated but melodic metal, but with like, you know, some weird time signatures and stuff, and really long songs, and, you know, whittly bits. But that's it. Like, that's what like prog is now, and that's why most of the, like, new prog bands, A, are bad, B, are not progressive in any way. So, you know, it's not really, like I said, like the newest sort of successful prog band is Haken, and for a long time they were just kind of Dream Theater clone, and now they're like, the way they got away from being a Dream Theater clone is by getting an 8-string and being more djenty. And so John Petrucci honestly did people a favor, because by not using 8 strings for a long time, he avoided
creating more clones.
Yeah, he gave people a reason to not sound like Dream Theater.
Well, this is the thing with like certain movements of you know, genre inspiring bollocks. Dream Theater is like a inspiring band that births guitarists that will create music like John Petrucci and Dream Theater. You know, same thing with Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. You know, I'm massively moved by Joshua Homme of Queens of the Stone Age, and from day one, you know, you can take a song like Make It With You, or like go back to Rated R and do or the first album, self-titled, and do If Only, then go up to like No One Knows, or Feel Good Hit of the Summer, Nicotine, Valium, Vicodin, or Millionaire, like really heavy standard C-tune shit, and then take like the recent hit that they've just released, Like the Way You Used to Do, and it's produced by fucking Mark Ronson. Yeah. You know, and it's booty shaking music. It's fun. It's poppy, but there's never any specification for like just recycling the same bullshit. And it's also not a case of, okay, now we're going in a poppy direction. It's never like that, and it still doesn't adhere to the whole thing of, oh hi, we're Fishbone and we play all genres. Like, it's just non-genre specified. Like, here's a fucking song, it's good. You know, it leans towards a heavier element. It doesn't lean towards a heavier element. It's darker. It's not as low tuned, but it's still heavier. Sure. I never really, I think in the beginning of me listening to like a lot of, let's just say, contemporary music outside of classical or whatever, or pop, it never was like gunning down one like genre like Pantera. It never was like that. It was always musicians that did so many different things. And I think that's probably why djent is now going away to djent-adjacent, as you're calling it, music, and becoming more accessible to people, but at the same time to folks like us who like have appreciated djent in its purest forms. I'm sure if you want to say that, it's now becoming better. I think that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, definitely.
'Cause you don't spawn the same shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not dogging John Petrucci, but there's a reason why I probably haven't listened to Dream Theater before.
And again, even, you know, part of the thing with John Petrucci is like he may or may not be able to tap into the djent thing because he may be too old to rock. No more rocking for him.
You know what? Now I can understand where you're coming from.
But we'll take him to a home and we'll sing a song about him. We'll make sure that he's very well taken care of. You'll tell us secrets that you've learned.
His sauce will mix with ours, and we'll make a good goulash, baby. Yeah, we can't say Johnny or Petrucci there after that. Doesn't rhyme
at the
anymore.
beginning, you can say JP. JP has rocked for a long, long time.
Time to go. You must give your cape and scepter to me, and a swallow one for Jamie.
Yes.
All right, that was a great podcast.
Oh, it should be a gentrified cover of Dio. And we'll change it to
just want one for Jamie.
Yes.
Is it nerdy to end it there?
No, that's awesome, actually.
Also, you notice how like my mic just peaked the shit?
Yeah, we just peaked the fuck out of that. That's fine, though. All right, let me just say, if anyone's still listening, subscribe. If you're on, give us a like in wherever you are. And give us some comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know if we missed any new up-and-coming djent or djent-adjacent bands.